Let me ask you about this trend of the EV purchases from the outer suburbs of capital cities. Are you surprised by the trends you're seeing in terms of who are buying the most EVs right now?
Happy Easter to you, Kieran, and your family and all our viewers. I hope everyone's had a really good break. No, I'm not, Kieran. I'm not surprised by that. I live and work here in Western Sydney, and you just look around and you see big increases in EVs all the time, and hybrids, people making choices, and that's what it's all about. You know, Kellyville and Rouse Hill are the highest selling suburbs for EVs. That doesn't surprise me in the slightest. It's a bit of a myth that some in politics perpetrate that EVs are only for inner cities or only for rich people. We want more Australians to have better choices, including here in Western Sydney and in regions. We want people to be able to make informed, good choices. That's why I put out the data today about EV charging, 100 new fast chargers in the first quarter of 2024, because even over Easter, as I've been around with family and friends and community members, people have been talking to me about EVs and thinking about buying an EV, but a bit worried about whether there's enough chargers. So it's important to remind people and show people that actually chargers are rolling out very fast across the country.
And you're talking about the number is going to double, is that right, over the next 12 months? Is that the sort of pace we need to see for the uptake that you're planning for as a government?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, you've seen 2/3 of the EVs on the road today were sold under the Albanese government, so EV charging needs to keep up because take-up is going up very fast. Now, we've got 90% more chargers out there than we had 2 Christmases ago, so that's a big increase, but also, as you said, EV charging, or EV take-up is increasing exponentially as well. So we've got to make sure we keep up. So this is just a bit of a quarterly update to say 100 new charges in the first quarter. Our Driving the Nation policy is really only just starting to hit its strides now, because we're putting charges in where in many instances there's not even an electricity grid, so that takes some management and some planning, which we're doing with the NRMA. I opened the new charges in Alice Springs and Tennant Creek and Katherine a few weeks ago. We opened more in South Australia during the week. So people need to know that if they want to take those long drives, most people will charge at home when they're driving to and from work. If they want to take those long drives, either whether for family or for work, that we are rolling out the charging. Federal government, state governments, some local councils and private sector working together to ensure that we increase the number of chargers available.
When you look at the broader issue here, there's a real divide now before the next election. Nuclear on the one hand from the opposition, the solar sunshot that you announced last week at the Liddell Power Station, and renewables from your side. I just want to get you to respond to the assessment that renewables have stalled, and the number that people are referring to is the Clean Energy Council number. Utility scale investments in 2022 was $6.5 billion investment. The following year, only $1.5 billion. Have investments in renewables stalled due to the public concern around transmission lines particularly?
There is some issues that we are addressing around transmission lines and better social licence, but actually we've seen some encouraging figures out of the investment figures. We've seen a record investment of batteries, big batteries, for example. We've seen 5.9 gigawatts invested in those figures, so that's good, but we have more to do, and hence we've announced we'll have the capacity investment scheme to really underpin that dispatchable renewable investment, because that's, as countries around the world are all on the same journey, we're all competing for the same capital and the same supply chain inputs. So our capacity investment scheme, of which I'll have more to say in the next couple of weeks about the details of the auctions, but it's going to really underpin more renewable investment, more dispatchable renewable investment, and this is the way of the future. You know, in Europe, just for the last year, for example, they installed as much renewable energy every week as one nuclear power plant every week. So this is all pretty impressive figures around the world, and we're competing in that environment. The way of the world is to get on with that investment, as opposed to this nuclear fantasy that some propose, which is slow to roll out. Many years, and the most expensive form of energy available. Why you would do that with these wonderful renewable resources we have in Australia is beyond me.